right?
Okay.
So I'm starting at a 7 on this. This machine is a hard hitter, so I don't want to go too much. I want to see how his skin is first before I start messing around with my. How you doing so far?
It's doing good.
You got a little line on you. Always have your stuff, your reference nearby, because you never know when you're going to have that moment where you go, I can't see a line, or I'm not quite sure what's happening here. But we always have a safety net. That's why one of the reasons we use iPads right here. How long have you been thinking about this tattoo?
Almost a year at this point.
For a little while. Are you thinking about your next one?
Yeah, kind of. Kind of.
If his skin wasn't liking this voltage, then I would adjust my voltage up and down. A lot of people start out at 8. I start at 7 just because this machine is so powerful. And I always found the 7's a good starting spot. But it's also going to be, depending on how you move your hand, your hand speed, things like that, play into it. There's 2 different techniques you can use with lining. There's pushing and pulling. So what pushing is if I'm moving my hand away from me. Pulling is moving my hands toward me. The advantages to those depends on what you're doing. So like for instance here, I'm going to push this line, and then it kind of goes into a pull. Where that difference can come into play. One, usually on a push you tend to, or on a pull you generally tend to wobble a little more, especially if you're running your machine too slow and stuff. You're catching on the skin and you kind of wobble. Pushing you get a really clean, smooth line, but you really have to watch where the hell you're going. Because if not, you'll end up doing something you didn't mean to do.
me to grab it or anything?
It's in my pocket, so I'm not going to expect you to reach in my pocket on like day 3. Here she comes.
You can reach in this pocket. Much better. Is it in this pocket?
Yep.
Nice. Where is it?
Hand speed's one of the things you can't really teach, because that's one thing that comes to the artists themselves, but it's finding that balance between hand speed and voltage, and the skin you're working on. I mean, and when you first start out, you're focused on so many different things where I'm not. I'm not paying attention to my needle depth. I don't know if I feel. I know I've been doing it. I've done it long enough. I know where I need to be in the skin. When you first start out, you're like focusing on needle depth and where you're going. Yeah, it's kind of like playing chess. You got to be thinking ahead.
I love chess. So.
Chess or chest? I love chest.
I love chess.
I love chest. Is that a game? He's like, yeah, it's a game. Sorry if your grandma's watching this. She got in trouble. So this tattoo for someone or just for you?
Just for me.
So just a memorial tattoo yesterday for someone. Yeah. It's always sad.
But it's losing animals. So bad.
But she seems to be very happy with it, which I'm glad that she's happy with it. I'd hate to do a memorial tattoo and then they're like, oh, this is awful.
Oh my god, I hate it. That would not be good.
No, that's the thing to remember. We're not perfect. We just have to try to be. That's the thing about tattooing. I feel I get a lot of people that come to me for my line work because they're like, oh my god, I love your line work, and I'm looking at it going, really? What about that? You didn't see that right there? That spot right there? You didn't see that? How can you not see that? That's all I see.
Everyone focuses on their own mistake.
I literally have had people tell me in the most awkward way possible that they're like, oh my god, I want your lines on me. I'm like, that's the weirdest damn thing I've ever heard. But I've had multiple people say it.
When you word it like that, come on.
It is kind of awkward. So, Caden, what do you do for a living?
I'm a college student at Lindenwood.
Okay, what's your major?
Sports management.
You gonna work for like an NFL team, or you want to work for
Something
another
around
sports
sports.
team? Just some other sport.
Yeah,
Anything
not
but
football.
Basketball.
Maybe, yeah, basketball.
It's tough to get into. If you're one of the, I mean, it's harder to get into that than it is to get onto the sports team.
Yeah.
But hey, it's a good place if you can get there.
Yeah.
What year of college are you in?
Freshman, just started.
Oh, you are fresh blood there. I was thinking about going and finishing up my bachelor's at Lindenwood, but I haven't decided yet. I just finished up an associate's in May, and then I forgot to file for graduation. So I'm waiting to get my diploma. Should be coming here this month. It said to be here in August, but I haven't seen it yet. But I was 11 credits from my bachelor in Idaho, and then I ran out of money. And I moved here, and now for me to go back and get my bachelor's, I got to do 24 credits. And I'm like, I don't have time for 24 credits. I work full time, more than full time. But it's at the same time, I got so close that it's kind of like, I kind of really want to finish it. So is your program just a bachelor's program, or is it going to be a master's after that? Or?
It's just a bachelor's program right now. So.
Is that your plan after is to get a master's? Or?
My plan now is I'm a game day assistant, so I'm trying to work my way up the ranks and get into the school. So after I graduate, I have a job already set for me.
That's a smart way to go. Most people don't think that far ahead. Most people are like, what are you going to do when you graduate? Party! Yeah. That's why you didn't graduate. It's good to see someone, a young person with a plan.
Yeah.
Because so many of them have no clue.
Yeah, that's true.
Like this one here.
Yeah, no plan. I'm just hanging out here for fun.
That's from most Gen Zers. No plan whatsoever. I feel sorry for the world. The few with a plan are going to be the ones that take over. Because the rest of them are going to be like Idiocracy. You seen Idiocracy? You okay over there?
Yeah, I'm good.
Oh, okay. For a second, I thought I lost you there.
No, I'm good.
You seen the movie Idiocracy? You seen the movie Idiocracy?
No.
You should, because it's a movie that first time Crocs made an appearance on the big screen before they were known.
Yeah.
Because they were like, they literally, the people who made the movie, they were like, they thought they were stupid, but they would never go anywhere.
Yeah.
So they took and got a bunch of Crocs because they were brand new, nobody knew what they were.
Yeah.
And then they were, they're like, we never guessed they would become a thing.
Yeah.
But it's basically about the world like 500 years in the future.
Okay.
The world gets dumber and dumber and dumber. So yeah, it's pretty dang funny. You should definitely check it out.
I will.
Become one of your favorite movies. Especially when you see Terry Crews as part of it. President of the United States.
Terry Crews?
Yep. Yeah, he's President of the United States, and he is when they were announcing, he's like was it like 10-time WCW world champion and porn superstar. Love me some Terry Crews. Yeah, it's a great movie. Not a lot of people know about it, but it's got Luke Wilson, non-messed up nose brother of the Wilsons. Yeah. It's got I can't even think of her damn name. It's like right there on the tip of my tongue, but I can't like. God, she's in Grown Ups, but I can't think what her name is.
Is it really good?
Could. It's right there on the tip of my tongue, but I doubt it. name. It's got Dax Shepard. I don't know if any of these names mean anything to you.
Mary Rudolph.
Yeah, her. It was right there on the tip of my tongue, but I just couldn't think of it or something.
I would not be able to help you if I didn't have my phone. I do not know actors or actresses' names. I just know their
I know
faces.
some.
I just know faces. And if I see their face and they make me laugh, then I watch it. And if I don't see their face, or I see somebody who's fucking annoying, I just
Well, I watch a lot. I watch a lot of Korean stuff.
a lot of Korean stuff.
Yeah. So sometimes remembering the names is like a little more challenging. And then I'm like, hey, that's the actor from that movie.
Right.
They got about 4 actors. Well, they got more than that, but you see the same people.
A lot of the
Yeah.
stuff.
And you're like, oh, hey, he was this in this movie.
Who do you watch that's Korean? Like K-dramas?
No, they make a lot of zombie movies.
Oh, okay.
A lot of like zombies type series, into the world stuff.
Hmm.
Train to Busan.
Can't say I've heard of it.
Love that movie. You need to watch it. It is. It's. You can find an English dub version, which is much easier, but it's
No, I'm just
it's
gonna watch
not
it
quite
fully
the
in
same.
Korean.
I did the first 3 times, and I had to watch it 3 times because I felt like I was missing stuff because I was reading it.
Right.
Like I don't do dub. I don't do subs.
Yeah, no, I've watched this one movie, and I think it's called Parasite.
It's 61, right? 61, 13.
Yeah, 13.
Just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Before I get too much further. Parasite. That sounds really familiar.
It's I don't know I don't know what exact language it is in, but I know that it's not sub or dubbed into English. So I've watched the movie like 3
That's
times.
Korean.
I've watched the movie like 3 times, just fully in whatever language it's in, and just having to read subtitles, and it's still so good every time.
That's what Train to Busan is.
It's still so good. And my boyfriend wanted me to watch it originally, and I was like, this sounds like a really.
I think that one's Korean too.
At first, it sounded really bad, and I would not give it a chance. And finally, he just turned it on while I was over at his house one day, so I had to watch it. And it ended up, I didn't want to admit it, but it was actually a really good movie.
Well, check out Train to Busan.
I will.
It's
I gotta watch A Million Ways to Die in the West and this new movie, Train to Busan.
Yep, and Idiocracy.
And I've seen Idiocracy.
I'm gonna come back to these dots because I don't think I want to make them as big. I think I'm just gonna. Too big, they're just gonna look awkward. So I think I'm just gonna keep this right here. I think that's much better. It's being a little smaller.
Yeah.
I think it was way too big, but some fonts do that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, you gotta watch The Kingdom, or is it just Kingdom? I think it's just Kingdom. Oh my God! I hope they make another season of
I've
that.
got a lot of movies to add to my list.
This is serious. This is serious.
Oh, is it?
And there's 1 or 2 movies based on it.
Well, what's it about?
It is set in like feudal Korea.
Another Korean movie.
Yep. And it is a zombie movie.
Okay, I like
And
zombie stuff.
They,
So.
I don't want to ruin anything, but yeah, the zombies in that one are.
So they're not like Walking Dead zombies. They're like that one. What's that one?
28 days later.
Yes. Oh, is that like that?
Yeah, fast, but they're even different because they're active like during the nighttime. No, they're not active during the daytime.
So it's like
Secret
World War Z, or not World War Z. What's the one with Will Smith?
Those are more vampires than zombies. That was.
They're for zombies.
That's I Am Legend. They're more
I Am
vampires.
Legend.
They're more vampires because they need blood.
I guess.
Yeah, they're more vampires.
I've always been told it was a zombie.
No, it's more
It's a good movie.
it's
though.
more vampire movie than zombie movie. I'm sorry, we're boring you with
Yeah, you're good. You're fine.
zombie vampire movies discussion. See, people think we're rock stars in this industry. No, we're a bunch of weirdos, just like everyone else.
What do you like to watch, Caden? What's your name, right, Caden?
Yeah. A lot of horror movies.
I'm not horror movie buff too.
Yeah.
Have you seen the Saw movies?
No, yeah,
They're
I've
my
seen all of them.
favorite.
I own every single one. So
Oh, I love the
all
Saw
but
movies.
saw all but the last two in theater.
Yeah.
I've seen all of them.
I'm interested to see Chris Rock in the last one. But he was like, he wrote part of it. And yeah, it's like comedian all of a sudden turned actor.
But I like
Or turned, horror actor, I should say.
I like the first three more than I like any of the other ones. Because I feel like after a while they just ended up not being as great.
Yeah,
But the first three are they're just so goofy.
Yeah, they're good.
Yeah, but then you get to 7 and it starts weaving everything together.
Yeah.
So you start getting, okay, this is how this ties into 4 and 5.
Right.
And the problem with 4 and 5 that people don't realize, 5 literally starts about 10 minutes after 4 does.
Right.
So it's 2 concurrent stories. And that's what confuses people. Is because
I never found them very confusing. I always liked them. I just didn't like that. I feel like the quality just kind of slowly, like gradually went down a little bit. And it bummed me out because they're one of my favorite series.
I don't know, I hope they continue.
What's your favorite horror movie?
Insidious. That's my favorite.
Okay, I want to watch Insidious so bad, but every time I try to sit down for the first one, I end up falling asleep because it like bores me to death.
No, it's a great movie.
It's a slow first movie.
Yeah, it
though.
is.
But I always see the trailers and I'm like, God, it looks good. But then I sit down to watch the first one and I'm like, oh god.
It's just got it's got more of a couple jump scares in it.
Yeah.
But most of it is pretty slow because it's like it's more like making you wonder if he's going crazy or if this shit's actually happening.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one part where he's watching he's watching the video and then it's changing from the last time he watched it. Yeah. It's typical horror movie stuff.
Yeah.
See, I don't like that a lot of newer horror movies are they're not that good anymore. They don't have
No,
those,
they're
like
not.
scares. They're just not good anymore. But I watched this one in theaters a couple months ago. It's called like The Boogeyman, I think. I genuinely
The new
really
Stephen King.
yes. I genuinely really liked that movie. I love Stephen King movies though, and I love his books. So
Have you seen oh god, which one is it?
oh yeah, that one.
Haunting of Hill House on Netflix, the series.
No, I'm seeing
You
it.
need to watch
It
that.
is so good. If you like horror, it is
Yeah.
so good.
It's one of those that there's a couple points in that movie that slap you
Yeah.
because you go,
All right.
what? You know, it's just they have these reveals that are just like
I'm
mind
so
blowing.
glad you brought that up, Tracy. That is such a good series, and they have 2 more. And then the one after that is called The Haunting of Bly Manor, and it's kind of similar, but it's still different, and it's still good enough to like keep you involved.
See, I haven't watched it because I was just told that it was boring.
No, it's really good. It's really good. I really liked it. And then the third one is about like the third one kind of I didn't keep up with as much
Well, they've got
because that was right after I had my
they have
daughter.
they have 4 total now.
Do they really?
There's Midnight Club. And,
Oh, I heard that one stuff. That's why I didn't watch Midnight Club.
And something else. I can't remember.
I can't remember what that one is. But it's about like devils and angels in a way, and it ends up like
Anytime they get into the devil angel stuff, they just start getting weird.
No, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. But it like threw in like some vampire-esque type stuff.
Oh my god, it sounds like you're talking about season 4 of Bleach.
I've never seen that, but it was really good. You know what? I'm gonna look up the title.
15.
You gotta watch these. They're really good. If you like horror, they're really good.
You watch anime at all? Everybody watches anime your age. No,
Attack on
I watch
Titan.
anime.
Attack on Titan. Only one I watched.
I kind of just went downhill though.
Yeah.
It started out so promising, and then this first half of the last season, it was just like, why? Why did you continue? You know, to me at least, it's like.
Do you like anime, or you just like wanted to watch Attack on Titan?
Just wanted to watch it, kinda.
There's a really good anime on Netflix, and it's called Kakegurui. And it's about like a gambling addiction at a school. It's like a gambling school. It's actually really good. I like it a lot.
But I've also seen Death Note. That was good.
Death Note was great.
And the movie was
First
good too.
season was great.
Yeah.
The second season
Sucks.
sucked.
Terrible.
Mm.
Loved the first season.
Yeah, the movie wasn't bad, but
Yeah.
I wish what they would have done with the movie is instead of having it take place in the same world, they should have had it take place in a different world.
Yeah.
I
So
did not like the movie.
there were parts of it that are great.
Yeah, but there could be parts of anything that's great. I think as a whole, the movie was just like kind of bad.
Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm dropping my voltage down. So I don't want to hit too hard here. Just need to. My wife watches a ton of anime, so. She's up into the 900s on One Piece. So.
Shania is. I've never seen One Piece. I've heard so many mixed reviews on it that I don't want to get into it because I feel like if I end up hating it and it's that many like episodes and seasons.
Oh, in some ways, you can just go through and watch these last couple episodes that came out because they literally recap almost everything. There's like 10 episodes of recap. And I have a client that comes in and gets a lot of One Piece tattoos, and he's like, there's a thing online that you go onto, and it'll actually tell you which episodes to watch and which ones to skip. It's like, these are important episodes, these are not important episodes.
See, then I would watch it. I can't figure out what the third one is called. I just got this one on Netflix.
So what I'm doing is I'm using technique here. If you look at his arm, I got darker down below here and tapering up in.
So then, how do you do the tapering? You just kind of like flick up
Just
a
it's
little bit.
called whip shade. So if you kind
Kind of flick your wrist a little bit. And
of, yeah. So I'm going to come in here and I'm basically making these tight little circles. And as I come up, I'm just kind of just feathering it up. So I'm not just pulling out of the skin, I'm kind of coming to the side. So you're from around here?
Yeah.
where'd you go to school at?
Francis South Central.
Oh, cool.
It's nothing to me, but I'm from around here.
Mm.
People ask me
Well,
where I
maybe
went to
that's
school,
me.
and I'm like, you've never heard of it. Are you familiar with upstate New York? Oh, then you've never heard of it.
It's called Midnight Mass. It's
Yeah.
really good. I had to look it up. Oh my goodness.
I haven't watched it because I can't watch horror movies with Shania around.
Why not? Should not like
They
them.
bother her. She'll get nightmares and stuff. So,
Oh.
so I don't get to watch scary movies.
Well, when you get the chance, you gotta watch it. I think it's pretty good.
No, I don't get the chance because it never fails. Like Sunday, I'll get up before she does. I'll go out on the couch and I'll start drawing. I'll put something on, and then next thing you know, she's popping out on the couch. What are you watching? And it's like, now I got to turn it because it's a horror movie. So I'll never get to finish it. Because like one of my friends, she's like, you need to watch. She knows I'm a huge Evil Dead fan, but I haven't seen any Evil Dead movies. But I'm more of an Ash Williams fan than an Evil Dead fan. So she's like, you need to watch the new one. And I'm like, try, but I can't watch it with Shania. And then, of course, she got in the whole conversation of why Shania can't watch scary movies.
Right.
Because she's a good friend of ours, so we're all talking on the phone at the same time about it. So then finally, I found a day where Shania she was asleep, and I put it on. I got to actually watch it. And I messaged her, and I'm like, I watched it finally. And she's like, what do you think? I'm like, it wasn't bad. I miss Ash, but, it's not bad. It holds true to the... It's not so much the horror comedy now, but at least holds true.
See, what I didn't understand about Evil Dead, I didn't know that it was a series before I just sat down and watched the last one with my boyfriend.
Yeah.
And then I was like, this sucks. Like, this is a terrible movie. And I guess it's probably because I haven't seen the whole series, so I don't totally understand, like, the Evil Dead world.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, it's more... The first one was more of a horror... The original one was more of a horror movie. And then basically, I think it was Sony owned the rights to it.
Mm-hmm.
And Sam Raimi, who wrote and directed it with Bruce Campbell, basically he couldn't get the rights to make a second one. So he remade it basically differently. Okay. And it became more of a horror comedy.
So I don't like horror.
And it was Evil Dead 2, so it was technically a follow-up, but it was also retelling the whole first story in a short version. And then the third one, he actually gets sucked into, at the end of it, he gets sucked into a portal and goes back in time.
Okay.
Where he has to defeat the Evil Dead, which he fails at. But, and then they basically at the end of it, he thinks he closes the portal so the Evil Dead can't come through. And
clearly he was wrong.
And then a couple of years ago, they came out with Ash versus Evil Dead, which is a movie or a series. So it's like, Ash Williams, like, now in his like late 40s, early 50s, and all of a sudden he accidentally reads from the Book of the Dead and starts the whole thing over again. So then he's fighting, but yeah, it's originally started as a horror comedy, and it's good. It's cheesy, but it's good.
See, I just thought the
lots
last
of blood
movie,
and gore.
The last movie, it was the first one, Evil Dead I've ever seen. So I was like, this is, first of all, so, like, moving so fast.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't know the world that it's set in, you would get lost pretty quickly.
Yeah, I was very confused, and then I did more research on it, because I was in, like, Reddit forums, and I was like, why does everybody think this movie is so good?
Because you're talking about a cult following.
Because other people had seen all of it, and I haven't. That is exactly why. So.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about a world that's got a huge following of fans.
But I didn't like understand.
I think you'd really enjoy Ash versus Evil Dead, though.
You think I would?
Yeah. It's a comedy, but oh my God, there's some scenes on there. There's one scene where they're in this room, and basically one of the Evil Dead comes back, and they're fighting it, and there's like, when they get done with the scene, like the whole room is like covered in blood, including the actors. It's like everything. You just see this red room, and then one of them like takes a step forward, like they're trying to wipe it off and stuff. I mean, they just made it so like over the top, cheesy gore. But oh God, it's just beautiful. But at the same time, it still has, some jump scare to it.
Yeah, I think that's another reason why I was so lost, because I think the last movie, it was kind of horror, but in my opinion, it wasn't as like scary as something that I would want to watch.
No, it's borderline zombie demon. I mean, they're demons, is what the Deadites are.
But I want to be like scared out of my wits. I don't want to be able to go to the bathroom by myself. I want to have to like bring somebody with me because I'm so scared.
Yeah, that's not what those movies are for.
Yeah, but I didn't know that. I just saw like previews of it, and I was like, this looks pretty good. So.
There's a couple scenes though that are, when she's like chasing the little boy down the hallway.
Like the cheese grater scene.
Oh, the cheese grater, yeah.
That I was like.
Well, that was extra bad for me, because one time I was grating zucchini and slipped, and I cut a big gouge in my thumb.
Mm.
Didn't take it all the way out, but cut a good sized gouge in my thumb. So I see somebody attacking somebody with a cheese grater, and it's like, yeah, I feel that. doing now is just kind of working on darkening the bottom of these a little bit more.
Okay.
But I'm still kind of working quickly because I want to keep a little bit of that. Just want to keep some of this width here. But I want it to be darker at the bottom there, and then I'm going to come through and do the top.
Okay. He's
Kind of
teaching you.
working in my corner. Working in the corner of my mag.
I assumed you had picked up on that, but I just wanted to
Yeah.
make sure. You didn't think he was like just talking to himself.
I do that sometimes. Definitely not talking to anyone on the live stream. Their loss, right? They don't want to watch paint dry. Start calling you Wesley. Have you seen Princess Bride?
Yes, I know.
They start calling you Wesley. It's like, good night, Wesley. I'll probably kill you in the morning.
Oh, now you get me thinking about that movie. I haven't seen it in so long. I love
I
it.
always quote the, although I do not pity or envy you the headache you have when you awake. In the meantime, sleep well and dream of large women. So we got the bottom half done. New paper towel.
Only got a little bit more. Taking it like a champ.
Yeah.
We're almost there. You got the under what I said. I said 1 to 1.5, but we're gonna be more at the 1 or at the 1. So. But you know, I always give a range. Never. Always give them a range. Don't ever say, "Oh, it's gonna take me exactly this amount of time," because that's when all hell breaks loose. And next thing you know, you're 2 hours past what you quoted.
Right.
Always give them a range. Now I know how long something's going to take me. I'm usually right within the range that I give people. I have one that I wish she'd come back so I could finish. It was a portrait. I told her it's not going to be more than one session, and she left after the first session. I haven't heard back. It's like a portrait. I mean, come on.
I love her. I was like,
Half-finished portrait.
right.
But I told her this is going to take me more than one session. Nobody's going to do that in one session.
I was really bummed because my mentor over at that other shop, he said this was going to be like 2 or 3 sessions, and it ended up never getting done. Because every time I'd be like, okay, can I come back? He'd be like, oh, yeah, maybe another day. I was like, I'm kind of tired today, so. Which I understand. I mean, it happens, but it didn't end up getting finished.
And that's basically what you say when you don't want to do something.
Yeah.
I mean, I really want to do Lexi's big side piece, but God, it's just the amount of time
Yeah, how long
to
is it
draw
going
it
to
up.
take?
Oh, that could be up to 100 hours. Realistically,
I'm sure she's excited.
I see it probably taking me probably about 30 hours. But,
Obviously more than one session.
oh God, yeah. I actually work it in sections. Mine one section and then. But I'm pretty fast at mine anymore, so.
Are you doing it in color or just black and gray?
Just black and gray.
Both questions, or both possible questions, black and gray. That would look really weird in color on her. And this would look really weird in color too.
I did mean her tattoo. I have seen the picture of this one, but
But you didn't specify. So.
Yeah, that was my bad. Sorry. I don't even know what color you put in here. Maybe like your
White,
favorite one.
but white,
Yeah.
white you have to be very careful of.
You say put pink in it.
Pink wouldn't stay pink. So skin is a filter, okay? So anytime, right now it looks pretty black.
Right.
Because you can see through the skin to it because there are a bunch of little holes in the skin. As it heals, the skin closes up, so everything becomes more muted. So you got to think the color of your skin and the undertones of your skin are going to act as a filter over the color that you're putting into the skin.
Right.
So pink might not even show. But it's your job as a tattoo artist to know how that's going to affect. I had one client who did this Joker tattoo on, and there's a lot of white in it, and I didn't do the white because I was afraid. I had one client that he had gotten some stuff done in white, and he came to me to have me try to fix it, and I couldn't fix it.
Right.
Because we tattooed it, and the skin turned darker than the white was. So it's like I didn't want to do that, and then have basically it turned darker, and then you can't see what the tattoo is. So I put a bunch of ha-has all around the tattoo. And he was supposed to let me know how it healed because I did them all in white. So I'm like, well, if it does go darker, then you get these looks like ha-ha scars all over. But he never got back in touch with me to let me know how it healed.
Oh, dang it. Now I'm curious.
I'm assuming it probably didn't because if it worked, he was going to come back and get the white in the Joker. I wish he would have. And both him and his sister gave me a 5-star review, but I never got to see how that healed out. So it's like you never want to commit to something if you're not familiar with someone's skin until you can do like a test of some kind on it.
Right.
So, you pick something small or some nondescript area and use that ink and see what happens before you commit. Because the skin tone, like I have a very kind of pink skin tone. So that's going to tint, like if I use white on my skin, it's going to take on more of a pink color and stay like bright white. That's why Shania's beckoning cat is grays.
Right.
So it looks white.
I had to think about which one it was.
It's all grays, but it looks white. Because I really did a few sessions on that gray to make it really super smooth. So she's got, a cat that looks white, but it's all grays.
It does look white, so.
White's one of those inks that you don't want to put it into large areas. It's better to use an opaque gray, which opaque gray is basically black and white mixed, versus gray wash is just watered down black.
Yeah, there was some white in this one and in this one, but I don't see it anymore.
I can tell where it was at. I can tell just by looking at it where it was at.
Because you're the mentor.
I guess used air quotes for that.
No, I didn't give you air quotes. I put you on top of like a pedestal. Not air quotes.
You got to see all kinds of stuff today. So where I have this tight area up top here, the mag's not necessarily the best for getting in there, even though I can angle my mag and everything. So what I'm going to do is just come back in with my liner and just kind of hit that area in a little better. How's your first experience, Caden?
It's going pretty good.
Not too painful.
No, not really.
Conversation's not too bad.
No, it's not bad at all.
We're boring you.
I know. I thought he fell asleep there.
God, I would if I had to listen to us talk about Evil Dead.
I actually met Zash Williams a couple years ago for Halloween.
Really?
Had to make my own chainsaw hand.
That's
He
so
basically he cuts off his own hand because he gets possessed. So I had to actually make a chainsaw hand. And I found an online tutorial on how to make one out of a Arizona iced tea
cool. I love those things.
plastic jug. So I actually made this plastic chainsaw
Oh my gosh. Do you have any pictures of it?
somewhere.
You'll have to show me.
And then I bought one of those real sound chainsaws for Halloween one year, and I was going to modify that to work, but I haven't. I really just want to go to the Renaissance Festival as Ash Williams, because if you've seen Army.
Okay, what is a Renaissance Festival?
Okay, Renaissance Festival is where a bunch of nerds, no offense if you go to Renaissance Festival, a bunch of nerds get together and dress up in what should be Renaissance garb, but it's honestly, it's always a Middle Ages garb.
Okay.
So it's supposed to be like, it's basically like a Middle Ages festival, but
See, because I've seen people dress up at Renaissance festivals as like Renaissance-y looking
Yeah.
costumes,
Well,
and then I've also seen like it almost looks like Comic-Con. So I'm like, well,
some do a little bit. But the reason why I go is Ash Williams, because in Army of Darkness he travels back to the Dark Ages.
okay.
And he has to defeat he gets sucked back in time, so he has to defeat the Deadites so he can get returned to his present time.
Right.
So that's why I go as Ash Williams Renaissance Festival.
Okay. See, that makes sense. And that was just so confusing.
Because people have done it. How do you get Santa at the Renaissance Festival? So
What'd you say?
they have a Santa Claus at the Renaissance Festival.
Renaissance Santa.
It would be a rent a Renaissance. A rent a Renaissance.
You'll have to be the Santa at the next Renaissance Festival.
No, they've actually got they got a long time Santa.
Oh.
I don't want to do it. They suck. It's like, I think that's actually coming up here soon.
It's probably
And,
hot.
yeah, my costume is warm.
Let alone like
I've got a very high-end
heavy
costume. Plus my belly. My belly's like warm. Because I have to use fake padding.
right.
My padding is pretty warm.
I believe it.
I got a very nice suit though. My Santa suit. I had people when I was on the porch press last year. I literally, when I had my jacket off in between performances, and I had to pretty much stay in my room, but I'd be talking to the crew. And the one guy's like, man, he's like, even without your jacket and hat on, he's like, you still look like Santa Claus. But I've actually got like the bib overall, like velvet bib overalls, and I got the
so
frilly
cool.
shirt.
That's so cool.
Okay, sir, you want to take a look in the mirror?
I can't wait.
The camera there with you.